Hi, this is Rachelle from Rivet Patterns, and in this video we're going to be talking about forward and backward sloping shoulders. What that means is that when you have a set-in sleeve or a dolman sleeve, but that's a different kettle of fish, the seam is supposed to sit right at the very top of your shoulder. A forward sloping shoulder is a lot more common than a backward one because of our day and age where we are on computers and phones and we are hunched over a little bit. So if you notice, even if you don't have forward sloping shoulders, if you put on a t-shirt that has a shoulder seam right at the top like this one, and you kind of hunch forward like you're, looking down at something on your phone or whatever, you will notice that the topmost part of your shoulder actually moves forward. So the seam sits behind it. So some of us are more or less permanently that way. A backward sloping is the exact opposite. If you have very, very good posture, then you might find that when you're standing straight, that the seam actually hits you too far forward. So we're going to show you how to move that. You need your front bodice, your back bodice, and your sleeve. So let's start with the forward because that's the most common. So let me this one, sorry. So that means that we need to move the seam from here forward. So however much that is, you can figure that out. If you make a muslin, you place a mark where your shoulder seam lines and then put on your muslin and see how much you need to move this. So let's say we're going to move it forward 1/4 of an inch. So we're going to measure 1/4 of an inch here, like that. So that would mean, I should probably put that in pen, huh? So that's going to be your new seam line. So, and you would cut this off. So if we took this and we just, right? But you need to compensate that from the back. So our back bodice, which we have this way, we are going to need to add 1/4 inch on so that we don't lose any of this here. So you'll need to move your seam allowance notch forward and then redraw this so that with paper behind it, that you add that 1/4 inch. That's how you move that. If you were doing a backward adjustment, it's going to be absolutely opposite. So instead of pulling this down, you're going to add on here. And in this case, you would actually reduce this and then make sure that you draw in. That doesn't change the overall length of the neckband or the arm side when you do this, because you're taking away from one bodice and you're putting it on the other, the exact same amount. What it does do though is it moves the sleeve notch, which is something that we need to address with the sleeve portion. So here's your sleeve, all in there, and here's the notch. You want that notch to line up with the shoulder seam. So here's the front and here's the back. So which way we're going to fix this is dependent on if you're doing a forward or a backward. So we're just going to cut it off somewhere around halfway-ish. Probably should have moved those letters down a little bit, but that's okay. Okay, so this allows us to move the sleeve cap to match. And you're going to move it, again, the exact same amount. So if you have a forward shoulder adjustment, then you are going to need to move the sleeve cap forward by the same amount. So it was about 1/4 inch. So we'd move it approximately 1/4 inch. And then you will have to fix your curve So you can do this by hand, or if you have a French curve, you can do that. So you're going to come through and redraw in that front sleeve cap. For a backwards, exactly the opposite. You move it back by 1/4 of an inch, and then come in with your French curve and redraw this curve. And that's all there is to it.